The night I decided to divorce Leo was strikingly ordinary. Nothing happened. There were no hysterical arguments or bitter curses. All that happened was him leaving me alone in the cinema one moment, and the next, he appeared in our alumni chat group. I heard Wendy is back in the country. Great. Now how many of our male classmates will abandon their families for her? Don't worry. It won't be their turn. Lou has already picked her up. Here's a picture, in the photo. My husband was in a knee-length black wool coat, holding a bouquet of gardenias, embracing his first love from his youth. Upon closer inspection, there were tears at the corners of his eyes. Leo didn't come home until midnight on the day Wendy returned to the country. He used the excuse every cheating man uses, leaving me right before the movie started. I wasn't completely clueless. For a whole 4 hours, I received photos from an unknown number, showing exactly what they were doing and where. So when Leo tried to explain softly for the first time with a tired look, I just patted his hand and said, "It's okay." He seemed uncomfortable. He thought I would nag and cling to him like before, demanding he make up for it with another day. He had even prepared a lecture on how I should be more understanding, but it was never needed. I took a deep breath, suppressing the pain spreading from my heart, and told Leo, "You should sober up. I have something to tell you." The warm yellow light of the bathroom turned on. Soon after, there was a sound of something falling inside. Leo walked up to me, phone in hand, his usual calm and composed self. "Are you angry about this?" he asked, showing me the photo from the alumni group. "I didn't tell you the truth to avoid unnecessary fights. You always lose your sense when it comes to Wendy, becoming irrational, just like now." Unexpectedly, I wasn't angry. Instead, I patted the couch, signaling for Leo to sit, and pulled out a document from under the coffee table and handed it to him. "Don't worry, I won't turn into someone you despise anymore. Let's get a divorce." "Leo, you want a divorce?" My best friend from college, Tina, sitting across from me, questioned in disbelief. "Really? I can't believe it." I couldn't blame her for her reaction. After all, she had seen my crazy obsession with Leo, even when Leo and I fought over Wendy before, and I drunkenly called her from a bar late at night. I made sure to remind her, "Don't forget to call Leo later to pick me up." So when she asked me again about my decision, I firmly told her, "It's true, it will be hard, but I will have no regrets." She thoughtfully handed me the contact information of a mediator. "I heard you need to schedule appointments for divorces now. This is the best mediator I know. They just started a divorce booking service." I thanked her sincerely. Tina asked what I planned to do next. Honestly, I didn't know. As she said, divorces are tough, especially when one party is uncooperative. Leo said he had no plans to divorce. That night, after revealing everything, he simply packed his bags and went to his company. Before leaving, he stubbornly believed I was making a fuss over Wendy for no reason. He sighed helplessly. "Cindy, suggesting divorce over a trivial matter as a threat is irresponsible and childish. You're an adult now. Stop playing these games." How ironic. In a marriage that should be about mutual care and support, he expected me to be as independent and strong as a stranger, yet he still took monthly long flights. I was worried about Wendy, who is 3 years older than me, not taking care of herself abroad. If I hadn't accidentally discovered it, he planned to keep it a secret from me for life. That night, I lay in bed. I thought I would be upset and cry myself to sleep, but instead, I surprisingly slept soundly and even dreamt. I dreamt of the first time I met Leo. I was 18, just finished with college entrance exams, and my parents, eager to sell me off, had me all dressed up to fetch a good price. I resisted, but it was futile, so I came to terms with it. However, I couldn't accept being paraded at 3 different dinner parties in one day, feeling like I was in some sort of special profession, from one bed to another. So, taking advantage of a moment when my parents were busy talking to others, I ran to the restroom, slipped off the cumbersome dress, changed into a simple, clean white t-shirt and light blue jeans, and ran outside along a small path. I saw myself as a Barbie princess, making a bold escape towards a road that I fantasized led to light and hope. But I underestimated the mosquitoes of July. Within just 20 minutes, they nearly drained the blood from this Barbie princess. I had forgotten that today's dinner was set halfway up a mountain. That's when Leo appeared. He rolled down his car window, and seeing his face, a whistle blew in my heart. As 2 well-known figures in the circle of the wealthy, I felt a kindred spirit in him. Unlike me, known for wanting to marry, his fame stemmed from falling in love with someone from a poor background. That night, two kindred spirits went crazy, got drunk on a bridge, and had a heart-to-heart by the roadside late into the night. Unfortunately, the incident was captured by onlookers and widely shared. Then, in a blur, we got engaged. We hit it off right away. I helped him cover up his dates with Wendy, and he helped me deal with the endless moral bindings from my family. This gave me a breather and a chance to pick up my old hobby of photography. During that period, the three of us truly had a great time. So, when did I start having different feelings for him? It seems it was after Wendy went abroad. I don't know how Leo's mother found out about our relationship, nor what she told Wendy. In the end, Wendy got married. During that time, Leo was distraught but still took care of me. After he stood up to my parents for me again and suggested I donate a kidney to a wealthy man in G City, I said to him, "Leo, why don't we give it a try?" He gave a melancholic smile and said, "Are you chasing after me?" I nodded. From that day on, I became Leo's shadow. I did everything I could to create opportunities to meet him. Sending him breakfast and small gestures of care were just the beginning. I wrote him love letters, declaring my love as if to Mount Everest. I never thought of giving up. Until our first wedding anniversary, I discovered that he and Wendy had exchanged rings in a small church abroad, making vows to God. What did he say? He said, "I was just helping out." Wendy's husband was too busy to attend the wedding, and the venue was already booked. "We're just friends. If there was really something between us, how could I not be involved in her second marriage, Cindy?" I've truly moved on. I believed his explanation. I told him that I believed the "I love you" he said to me at the wedding, so I gave him 3 chances. After 3 times, whether he liked it or not, there would be no future for us, and this time, it was the 3rd time. The alumni group got lively because of Wendy's return to the country. They stirred up plans for a reunion. To confront Leo, I also went. After the divorce confrontation, for 7 consecutive days, I couldn't get in touch with him. Sending the divorce papers to his office also went unnoticed. Whenever I called his assistant, he was either on a business trip or in a meeting. He wasn't that busy. He was just using his usual tactic of cold violence, trying to force me to back down first. Divorce is a long battle. You either repeatedly go to court or live separately for 2 years to meet the divorce conditions. Even though I was mentally prepared, I still wanted to find an opportunity to talk to him, hoping to end this farcical marriage as soon as possible. The reunion was set at an old restaurant outside our alma mater. I arrived just as Wendy was leaving. The narrow corridor was not a good place for a conversation, but she stubbornly blocked my way. Lighting a cigarette, she asked, "Getting a divorce? There's no need to force him to choose between you and me because you'll lose either way. After 7 whole years, how can someone still not understand their place?" I was about to retort angrily when she suddenly changed her expression from provocation to pity, clutching my hand tightly. "Cindy, you've misunderstood me. There's really nothing between your husband and me. I didn't think you'd still be upset about what happened years ago. I only came back to see my family and friends. I'll leave as you wish, but can it not be today? Let me save some face. I just want to have a meal with them. It's just one meal." I was shocked by how quickly she could switch faces. Suddenly, a forceful hand slammed me against the greasy wall. Leo was gritting his teeth, veins popping on his forehead. "Didn't I tell you to stay away from her?" I reacted quickly, slapping Leo twice across the face. Pointing at Wendy, I said clearly, "You provoke me, and hitting you would be illegal. But ultimately, it's all because of this man. So, if you provoke me again, I'll hit him instead. Let's see how many more hits his face can take." I then pulled out a divorce agreement from my bag and threw it in Leo's face. "I came here to get a divorce. Don't dramatize this." I went downstairs and paid the owner $500 to get the footage from the stairwell. I sent it to Leo's family group without a second thought. I didn't care what kind of storm the footage would stir up in Leo's family, nor did I intend to cry in front of those harsh relatives to gain their support. Instead, I efficiently moved out of the home I shared with Leo. In my view, neither marriage nor divorce should be taken lightly. Once a decision is made, it should be executed decisively. Lingering in pointless entanglements only leads others to question your sincerity. A small 3-bedroom apartment left to me by the nanny who raised me also served as my secret base. Leo and I had once enjoyed every corner of this place. Back then, He held me and said forever was too far, just a lifetime would do. Now, our end was no different from most couples. After the hassle of moving, I lay on the sofa and started searching for Wendy. We were once both jewelry design students, and after leaving Leo, she switched careers to become a theater actress. Starting from a small theater in London, she gradually made a name for herself in the industry. She was active online, and her account wasn't hard to find. With nearly 1 million followers, she was signed with an MCN agency. She had posted several vlogs about her return to the country, generating buzz for her first live stream sale in 3 days. At that moment, I was glad I had a hobby of documenting life. I opened my notes and cloud account, chose a PPT template I liked, and arranged every encounter between Leo and Wendy after our marriage in chronological order. It was impeccably done. For years of Leo's monthly flights to London, their couple's skiing gear, and the birthday gifts Leo prepared for Wendy each year, corresponding with her age, the logic was clear and undeniable. Anyone who saw it would. Everyone praises them as a loving couple. Then, she went live just at that moment. With Leo and Wendy's names, the trending search shot to the top, followed by a keyword related to infidelity, and a fiery explosion of gossip. Wendy's first live stream, which she had hoped would be hugely successful, ended in disarray. As expected, my phone was bombarded with calls, especially from my mother-in-law. Her piercing voice was so strong that it gave me a headache even through the phone. I usually don't tolerate her, but today I was particularly furious. And I yelled into the phone, "Bitch, I've given you enough respect." And then I hung up and blocked her in one breath. Leo's mother never really liked me. She didn't have a choice. After all, in her son's life it was either Wendy or me. My first argument with Leo was also because of her. We were newly married, and she often liked to barge into our marital room unexpectedly, without regard for time or place. She was very critical of me, but I tolerated it all for Leo's sake. Until one day, she slowly said in front of me, I preferred Leo's previous girlfriend. That was the first time she experienced what I could do. I went crazy, screaming and kicking her out of my territory. From then on, I refused to attend any family events related to her, letting her be mocked and ridiculed by others. That night I felt very low, burying myself under the covers in bitter sleep. Leo rushed back from work, entered the bedroom, and just watched me quietly for a while before speaking. "Cindy, you lost your temper at my mom." I remained silent, and Leo got angry. He pulled me out from under the covers, half threatening, half pleading. "Cindy, that's my mom." I grabbed anything I could reach and threw it at him. "So what? Just because she's your mom, do I have to tolerate it, even if she deliberately brings up Wendy in front of me?" Later, I thought it through. So, I was supposed to apologize. Then I would apologize, in the middle of the night, wearing my pajamas, hair disheveled. I drove to Leo's family mansion, holding a fruit knife in my hand. I grabbed his mother by the neck, sped to the airport, shifting gears and stepping on the accelerator. I coldly said to her, regretting it now, "I'm taking you to the airport. I'll buy you a ticket. How about you bring her back?" She clung tightly to the car's handrail, shrinking in the passenger seat, trembling uncontrollably. She said to me, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." I almost had her at the departure terminal. After that, my reputation was ruined in Leo's family. I was seen as petty and vengeful. I do not allow anyone to oppress me and get away with it. Leo's call came later than his mother's. Just from his voice, I could feel his exhaustion. When the call connected, we both held our breath, neither of us speaking first. After what felt like forever, he sighed helplessly from the other end. Then he gently called out to me, "Cindy, stop this." At that moment, I suddenly realized Leo had never truly respected me, not in our past marriage, nor at this moment. He stubbornly believed that my demand for a divorce, and the drastic measures I took to achieve it, were all efforts to save our marriage. I had loved too fully and too visibly before, giving him undue confidence. I thought for a long time, carefully choosing my words, before slowly saying, "You must be quite pleased with yourself, right? You think having your youthful first love by your side, and a legally wedded wife hysterically trying to win you back gives you homes on both ends of the earth. Leo, one can't be both cheap and sleazy," I said, my words tinged with a mix of anger and incredulity. "Listen, Cindy, I promise you that Cindy's place will always be yours, and I will eventually return to our home." He replied, "Stop obsessing over Wendy. You have no idea how much trouble you've caused her. Everyone is at their wits' end. Why should I care, whether I'm the butt of jokes in our alumni group or getting slandered online? Isn't that all on you too? I refuse to endure her and your public displays of affection until I can't take it anymore and start lashing out in self-defense. I want her to be branded as vile and cheap from the start, never letting her make a dime off your name. Leo and I were stuck in an endless Cold War, in a fit of pique. He attended several parties with Wendy over many days. She was always by his side, ostensibly as his date, perfectly matched and full of ambiguous intimacy. Some friends came to mediate, sharing their difficulties. They've been over for a while. It's just that the breakup was too bitter, and they couldn't get over it. She had a tough time abroad. Her first marriage left her with nothing but a child. She tried to make some money streaming to support her child, and because of you, she ended up owing a lot in penalties. Cindy, your husband is a rare good man. Be magnanimous, and let everyone have peace. I immediately cut off this friendship. Instead, I asked this mutual friend to persuade Leo to settle things amicably with me sooner. In the end, I wished his wife could also find a male confidant like Leo, similar to Wendy. This resulted in our mutual friend losing their temper and cursing me out. As the year's end approached, Leo's family had many pointless rules. I didn't want to go back with Leo to those meaningless family dinners, but I had no choice when his grandfather called. Leo's grandfather was a respected elder. Our wedding was chaotic, and my parents' behavior of treating me like a commodity during the wedding drew disdain and aversion from Leo's distant relatives. Aside from friends, almost no one stayed till the end. Only Leo's grandfather hummed the wedding march, clapping and smiling as he congratulated us. Unfortunately, my car and Leo's car arrived at the old house at the same time. Wendy was in his passenger seat. They both had cold expressions, but Wendy also wore a hint of scorn. After getting out of the car, Leo awkwardly supported Wendy by the waist and whispered something in her ear. If this scene were a painting, I was like an intruder breaking their harmony, but I could never learn to hold back. I rushed forward and yanked Wendy's hair, pulling her back. The Leo family has really fallen. Now just anyone can enter through the front door. Wendy collapsed into Leo's arms. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at me, but her lips curled into a sneer. Leo's face turned livid as he grabbed my hand. What are you doing? Mom invited her because there's official business tonight. I was fearless. So what? Even if it were your ancestors who invited her, I'd still have acted. We walked in together. Leo seemed wary of me making another move on Wendy, protecting her by his side. Leo's relatives were scattered around the living room. Leo was busy checking Wendy's head for injuries, while I was left isolated. I really disliked Leo's old family home, even with its bright lights and spotlessness. It felt as though it was filled with a corrupt air that couldn't be dispelled. Leo's mother sat among the other women, her eyes darting unnaturally everywhere but settling when she saw Leo, suddenly straightening her back. She was dressed to the nines today and spoke with a louder voice than usual in front of me. Even before entering the door, there was a huge commotion outside. How impolite. I smiled. I was about to ask you. Leo said Wendy was invited by you. Are you trying to emulate your husband by happily bringing together wives and lovers for the new year? Leo's father had more lovers than you could count. One Chinese New Year. He simply gathered his entire family and all his lovers to celebrate the festival together. It left his mother sick for months. Perhaps my words were too shocking, as the relatives present held their breath, none daring to be the first to break the ice. Leo's mother, twirling her prayer beads, slowly began to speak. Don't be so petty, focusing only on what my son does in bed. Think bigger. I invited Wendy here today for a legitimate reason. You messed up her live stream recently. And as an apology, I've arranged for Wendy to be the spokesperson for the future brand through Leo. After saying this, she insincerely asked me, Cindy, you're not upset, are you? At that moment, my heart tightened, and I gripped the newly opened bottle of red wine on the coffee table. It was hard to tell if it was outrage or heartache. I felt so upset that my heart seemed ready to burst out of my chest. I glared at Leo, grinding my teeth. Whose idea was this? He stood up and tried to approach me, but Wendy held him back by the corner of his shirt, forcing him to stop. His mother went on slowly. Consider Wendy's situation. It's not easy for a single mother raising a child. Expenses are everywhere. Why did you have to block her financial path? And you? I looked at Leo and challenged. You agree with this? He was firmer than anyone. saying, "Cindy, I owe her a lot. I want to make it up to her." As soon as he finished speaking, the wine bottle in my hand flew towards his head. There were screams of shock. The wine bottle shattered, and it was hard to tell whether it was blood or wine on him. My hatred surged. Everyone knew that Future was a niche jewelry brand under Leo's family conglomerate. It represented the journey from the past to the future, an endless exploration and limitless possibilities. It was Leo's love for Cindy. It was the gift he gave me when we married, and now, Future was sacrificed to his first love. Used by his mother as a weapon to humiliate me. Right then, I changed my mind, part on good terms. To hell with that. I wiped the sweat from my hands, remembering that Leo's grandfather was still waiting for me upstairs. Then I took a deep breath to calm myself. I stepped forward, adjusted Leo's mother's slipping shawl, and said gently, "Mom, I won't hit an elder, that's impolite, but since you always provoke me, what should I do? Then I'll have to hit your son. I've told Miss Wendy too. Hitting you would be illegal, but hitting him, that's just a domestic issue. I hope you all remember this, otherwise it's really tiring having to remind you over and over." I felt the body under my hand tremble. The relatives I called aunts criticized me for being out of line and disrespectful. One of the aunts, who had married into B City from G City, commented in her broken Mandarin that I was fierce yet foolish. Men, they are all cheap men, just good enough to use. Love is not necessary. How can he be dumber than a pig? Grandpa likes you, too. Having a child brings joy to everyone, she said, with tears welling up in my eyes. I replied that I had thought the same before deciding on divorce. However, the moment the thought crossed my mind, I suddenly envisioned the marriage certificate from our wedding, resting in the bedroom. Back then, he was so busy with work that he couldn't find time for a honeymoon or to take wedding photos. Filled with guilt, he pulled me onto his lap for a heartfelt embrace and apologized repeatedly. I still remember him, wearing his gold-rimmed glasses, sitting under the dim light, meticulously writing each wedding invitation. Perhaps it was our genuine love for each other that made it so hard to endure these flaws. I went to see Leo's grandfather. His health had declined since the onset of winter, and he rarely appeared in public anymore. The caregiver told him about the incident downstairs, and he nodded at me, his face showing relief. "Good, you can protect yourself." He gave me a substantial amount of money, along with some cherished jewelry and property. I asked him, "Are you giving these to me willingly?" "I'm planning to divorce Leo, and I won't return these if you ask for them later." He smiled joyfully, tears appearing in his eyes. "What does he have to do with this?" "I'm giving these to you because I want to. He wronged you, and I know it. Of all my daughters-in-law, I know how good you've been to me. I just feel sorry for both of you in my heart, destined to meet but not meant to be together. I still remember when you were about to get married." His eyes sparkled. He blushed and shyly said he was marrying the girl he loved, just like when he was a teenager. "Cindy, I'm old now and can't control you anymore, but I can only wish you well with these gifts." Neither my mother-in-law's difficulties nor Wendy's provocations made me sad, but at this moment, Leo's grandfather's gentle words broke me down completely. I cried bitterly and asked him, "Why did it turn out like this between us?" Patting my head, Leo's grandfather said, "He's not the right person for you. Don't cry for him anymore, right?" "I won't cry for him anymore." The day Wendy was officially announced as the brand ambassador for Future was on New Year's Eve. Right after midnight, all the city's LED screens and billboards switched to her posters. A netizen asked, "Did the original lose?" I replied with a secondary account, "Still fighting." The word "fighting" quickly trended online. Numerous netizens left messages under the brand's account. "This can't be criticized. She can really sell. How long will this sister keep selling? If I had her determination, what couldn't I achieve?" Following the announcement, there were several brand live streams. Future's target customers ranged from students to office workers, encompassing all. Previously, my love story with Leo was its best brand advertisement. Under my management, Future even established a women's fund, allocating a portion of the revenue to help women of all ages overcome difficulties. Now, countless women who had purchased from Future began to support me. They flooded into the live streams, openly boycotting Wendy, the new brand ambassador. During her sessions, I'm not sure if it was a PR strategy or Wendy's own doing. During the live stream, she pretended to accidentally read those harsh comments. With tears in her eyes and at the peak of viewership, she choked up with a smile, It's not about who speaks first, or whose words are taken as fact. I admit, I once had a relationship with Mr. Leo, the CEO. We were young and in love, decided to get married right after graduation, and even planned to take wedding photos in Iceland, but the person who became Mrs. Leo was once behind me, calling me sister and wanting to be my bridesmaid. Miss Young, let the innocent prove their innocence. I don't want to be scolded forever, but some things are in the past. Let's not talk about it. The direction of the wind changed in an instant. I had originally planned to use the intimate photos stored with Leo as evidence to refute the claims against me. But when I logged into my cloud account, I found it completely empty. Everything had been deleted. It was Leo, with whom I shared a family account, who did this. For Wendy, he had thrown me into a massive online witch hunt. Soon, people began to unbox me online. Many self-proclaimed justice warriors came to the old neighborhood where I lived, splashing paint on my door and loudly playing obscene curses. Even worse, I received death threats on the day I moved to the hotel. Wendy's car was parked across the street, separated by the road. She rolled down her window, wearing sunglasses. She no longer looked the fragile self she was around Leo. With a scornful smile, she flipped me the middle finger and then drove away. Tina, holding my sketchbook, gasped with anger. Aren't you going to do something about her? In fact, on the second day after the public opinion fermented, I had already recovered the chat data that could prove Wendy's lies, but then I realized, why should I prove my innocence? It was she who slandered me. She should be the one to provide evidence. What I needed to do was to gather evidence during the peak of the controversy and then sue Wendy and those who abused me online. So there was no hurry. I would act when the dissemination was wider and the punishment could be more severe. I didn't expect to meet Simon in City G while looking for a ruby for my employer. It was probably a case of professional success amidst personal setbacks. My jewelry studio received a large order. A lady commissioned me to design a piece of jewelry for her daughter's 18th birthday. A ruby was perfect for a July birthday. We met at the airport. I was surprised to see him, broad-shouldered and long-legged, wearing a camel coat over a well-tailored business suit, just as handsome as in his youth but now much more mature. After many years, there was a slight awkwardness between us. He shyly touched his nose. Tina is worried about you. She asked me to keep you company. Simon and I knew each other from our youth, and we could almost be called childhood sweethearts. However, after I got together with Leo, he didn't like me being as close to Simon as before, so we avoided each other to prevent misunderstandings, which gradually reduced our contact. The night at Victoria Harbor was brilliant with fireworks. He took me to find those street snacks. In a century-old shop bustling with people, we were squeezed into a corner, eating our meals a bit too close to each other. The iced lemon tea in winter was even more refreshing than in summer, sending a chill down my spine. In the noisy and bustling space, we tacitly avoided discussing recent events, choosing instead to reminisce about the past. Is the milk tea shop at the high school gate still open? It's still open, but the owner has changed. Though the decor hasn't, really. I haven't been there for many years. The previous owner mentioned you. I occasionally go there to buy milk tea, and she asked me why she hasn't seen that young man who insisted on wearing a leather jacket with a stand-up collar in the dead of winter for a long time. Simon slurped his noodles, his ears turning red. He said in disbelief, how can she still remember that after so many years? What I fear most is someone reminding me of the stupid things I did during my awkward teenage years. I teased him. Who told you to be so cool, not wearing a down jacket and just draping it over your arm all winter? He put down his chopsticks, wiped his mouth, and teased me back. You were more impressive, scooping all the principal's goldfish from the pond to feed the vice principal's free-roaming cat. In the firework-filled shop, we laughed heartily at each other, so refreshing. I received a call from Leo's secretary a week after I landed in City G. He was somewhat concerned but didn't want to lose face by contacting me personally, so he had his secretary ask when I was returning. The new year was approaching, and there were many things to prepare at home. I told his secretary to relay to him that there was no need for a divorcing couple to celebrate the new year together. If you need anything in the future, please contact my lawyer. When Leo heard this, he was helping Wendy review the will of her second husband. The will mentioned Wendy, leaving her a castle that looked impressive but was not very practical, whether she lived in it or not. the annual maintenance costs were exorbitantly high, the legal jargon was complex and difficult to understand, so Wendy asked him for help. He had been busy at Wendy's place from morning until 9 p.m., only then managing to put down the documents when his secretary relayed his wife's message. "Let's stop here for today." He looked at Wendy. Wendy was wearing a white satin nightgown, still looking as he remembered her, but he no longer felt any love for her. Suddenly, he wanted to see Cindy, his wife. He hurriedly packed up, not noticing Wendy's forced smile. As he was packing, he felt a warm touch on his wrist. "Are you leaving? I've arranged a video call with the kids tonight. Stay, they want to talk to their dad." The child was an accident, just like that night. Wendy claimed the child was his, and out of a desire not to upset her, neither had brought up a paternity test, but the more she mentioned the child, the more he wanted to see his wife. He left in a hurry. After turning off the car at the company building, he decided to work overtime tonight to free up the next few days to visit his wife in G City. As for the divorce, he had never taken it seriously from the start. He knew his wife loved him dearly and that she didn't have much family. The divorce was just a 7-year itch. A little sweet talk would do the trick. "My driver's license isn't directly valid in G City. For convenience, Simon had arranged for someone to drive me these past few days. On the day of the auction, I was lucky and effortlessly won the ruby I had my eye on." After completing the formalities, the driver asked where I wanted to go. Without hesitation, I said, "Mount Peace." I wanted to find some inspiration and sort out my thoughts. I found a casual spot to rest and watch the sunset, holding a cup of hot cocoa that was warming but a bit too rich. I had just sat down and hadn't finished my drink when I heard Simon's voice behind me. "Is it cold?" "Not really." We spoke at the same time, and he gestured for me to continue. I asked him, "Tired?" He smiled, looking at the sunset, and said, "Not tired." But I didn't just want to ask if he was tired these days. I wanted to know if he was tired of these years. Yesterday, Simon's mother invited me for dinner. After the college entrance examination, she had left abruptly with Simon, and due to my parents' circumstances, I missed the chance to see them off. It had been a long time since we last met. Simon's mother had a few more fine lines around her eyes than I remembered, but she still looked as gentle and beautiful. She was someone who cherished memories. She even kept many things from my childhood. "This is the first English award certificate you won. You thanked me for tutoring you in English, so you gave it to me and even added my name to it. And this book, it was the prize you and Simon won for a social project." He used to read it every night, almost knew it by heart. Simon's mother was wiping a photo frame and awkwardly said to me, "I met Simon's father while studying abroad. It was only after we got married that I realized his family in G City was very wealthy and had many rules. I couldn't accept that lifestyle. So I divorced him and returned to B City alone. I was not in good health and only realized I was pregnant with Simon 3 months later. Being a single mother all these years, looking back, I don't even feel tired." That year during your college entrance exams, Simon's grandfather was unwell, and he begged me to rush back to G City. As it turned out, the old man clung to life and didn't pass away. He sent Simon off to the UK. And we were so poor at the time that we couldn't afford to come back to look for you. When I next heard about you, it was when I saw the wedding invitation you had sent out. Simon had actually planned to confess his feelings to you after the exams, but it was all ruined by that old man who just wouldn't pass away, causing us to miss out on many years. Simon's mother probably thought I was already divorced and had come to G City to travel and clear my mind. She wanted to comfort me, but was also afraid of making things worse, so she had no choice but to push her son forward. "Cindy, if you're feeling upset, just date my son. After all, he hasn't had a girlfriend for many years, and all the match-made dates we arranged for him fell through. He's still untouched." I blushed and waved my hands at Simon's mother. She then whispered very softly, "And he's healthy, go ahead." I felt even more embarrassed. After recalling the past, I turned to look at Simon's profile. The evening glow covered his face, easily reminding me of the past. I asked him to find 2 blades of grass to play the grass-pulling game we used to play as kids. He called me childish and competitive. "Every time I'm about to win this game against you, you just grab and ruin my grass. It's no fun." "Yeah, everyone says I'm overly competitive," I said, looking down at my toes. "That's why I must beat Leo." I can't let him get the upper hand in the divorce proceedings. Simon understood what I meant. Do you want me to introduce you to a good lawyer? No need, my lawyer is also very capable. I stood up, walked a few steps, and then turned back to him. Let's go, take me back to the hotel. It'll be just the right time to ride in Simon Jr.'s new sports car. He mumbled with his head down. What Junior? At the hotel entrance. Simon didn't get out of the car. We simply waved and said we'd see each other next time. Just as the elevator doors were about to close, Leo suddenly appeared. I had no idea how he found me. I just thought he must be crazy. When the elevator reached my floor, he dragged me out with an unyielding strength towards the fire escape. In the dim light, he trapped me between his arms, pressing his forehead against mine like a discarded dog, sniffing the scent on me. Having fun, Cindy? Why didn't you tell me the truth? Weren't you here in G City for work? Why did he take you back to the hotel? Cindy, I want to lock you up in a place only I can find. That way, things can be just like they used to be. I managed to free one hand and slapped his face twice. I asked him, are you awake now? He rubbed his face, and after a moment, his expression returned to normal, and he stood up straight, moving, meeting old friends. Cindy, you've taken this too far. It's time to go back. It was probably because I was too easy to appease in front of Leo in the past that he got the wrong idea, thinking that no matter how big the issue, a simple coaxing could resolve it. He took my hand and pressed it against his face, acting like he was cajoling me. You've become really good at hitting people recently. My face really hurts. I know about the things you're concerned about. My deal with Wendy, that's all old news. Giving her a spokesperson role was just to help her make some small money. Can you please stop making a fuss, honey? I pulled my hand away. It's not about making a fuss, it's about what rightfully belongs to me. Leo, you're smart enough to know I'm not joking, so stop playing dumb and making excuses for your affair. Leo stood there, swiping through his phone. You have to go home with me on tomorrow's noon flight. Before leaving, he gently kissed my forehead as he left. I took out my phone and called the police. Officer, I've been attacked. Thanks to Leo, I got to see the late-night scene of G City. In the police station, Leo's lawyer kept arguing it was just a domestic dispute, while the hotel's surveillance clearly showed him as the aggressor. Simon's lawyer, whom he had arranged for me, communicated my wishes. Stall him, keep him from going back to the mainland for now. Leo's family has the means to bail him out. Meanwhile, I need to rush back and deal with his dog. I booked the earliest flight back to B City. As it took off, I released a legal notice to reclaim marital assets and address the slander from Ms. Wendy. Upon landing, I immediately confirmed with my lawyer to proceed with filing the case. Initially, Wendy didn't take the legal notice and court summons seriously. She continued attending events as usual, even mentioning the matter proactively during an interview. Ms. Xiang and I were both design students. The most annoying part of designing is being plagiarized and having your original work stolen, but clearly Ms. Xiang does this often. As the situation escalated, an online campaign #AbuseCindy started gaining traction. However, this didn't affect my mindset. The harsher they criticized, the stronger my inspiration grew. I designed a ruby to look like a newly born, brilliant sun, surrounded by 4 to 5 diamonds of similar hues, held up in a petal wrap style. It was one of my most satisfying works in recent years, and I sent the final design to a jewelry design competition. Unexpectedly, they dug up my competition entry information. Wendy even posted a video questioning the committee on why they would accept an entry from someone of dubious character and suspected plagiarism. Her followers bombarded the committee with emails demanding my disqualification. Her comments about suspected plagiarism particularly caught my attention. Each of my works is like my child, and her words were a blatant insult. Meanwhile, the internet was marketing Wendy as the #GeniusDesignGirl. During a live stream that night, she showed a draft that was 80% similar to my design, claiming it was her university project, a birthday gift to herself. She explicitly called me a despicable plagiarizer on camera. My inbox and phone were flooded with foul language. Then, my employer sent a message, "Cindy, I need an explanation." They didn't expect that I had whimsically recorded the entire creation process because I was so pleased with it. In less than 3 days, I posted 56 hours of video online showing my work process. Then I began to check the studio's surveillance. It showed Leo's mother had been there. She stood at the door, tried the password several times, and when she couldn't get in, she made a phone call. The caller ID clearly showed Leo's name. I had changed all the passwords a while ago and removed Leo's access from the studio's backend. Then, my studio assistant opened the door for her, both the main door and the one to the safe where I kept my designs. Because Leo had transferred her 5,000 yuan, Leo's mother took out my designs and photographed them several times with her phone. After shooting the video, I put everything back and left. I released the original surveillance footage without any censorship. The next second, everyone panicked. Leo had just escaped from G City and returned to B City, only to find himself embroiled in public controversy again. He accused me of being too radical in my actions. Cindy, you've at least called her Mom a few times. Don't you feel guilty treating her like this? I shrugged. It's not like I told her to steal. Seizing the moment, I drafted a new divorce agreement, demanding Leo to leave with nothing. After reading it, his response was the same: I don't agree to the divorce. It seemed like he was making a great concession. I won't interfere with Wendy's matters anymore. Whether you want to hold her responsible, seek compensation, or see her jailed, it's up to you. My only condition is no divorce. Wendy was also there. She clung desperately to Leo's arm. Think about the child. He can't have a mother in jail. Wendy even grabbed a box of tissues from the table and threw it at me. I dodged nonchalantly. Leo, you're in no position to negotiate with me. Either you leave everything behind and I won't sue your mother, or prepare for her to spend her latter years being pointed at. Leo's mother completely lost her composure. Lowering her dignity, she lunged forward and started fighting with Wendy. While fighting, she yelled, "It's all your fault, making me steal those design drafts, saying you could make Cindy listen to me. You wretch." I left the decision to Leo. His posture was no longer upright. Stooping and trembling, he asked me, "Cindy, do you still love me?" Love? I could only say that the Cindy in her early 20s, who believed in fairy tales, wanted all of Leo's love, but the 27-year-old Cindy, who had gone through a failed marriage marked by betrayal, only wanted all of Leo's fortune. I didn't love him anymore. The day Leo transferred all his assets to my name, and we successfully divorced. The internet was filled with public apology videos from those who had previously slandered me. I won my lawsuit overwhelmingly. The most vicious slanderers and troublemakers were sentenced to 2 years of imprisonment. The rest compensated and apologized. Some tried to escape punishment by pleading ignorance due to poverty or their student status, but I settled with none. Others accused me of being vindictive and ungracious. To this, I can only say, why did they scream insults at me wanting the whole world to hear, and then wish only I knew when they apologized? As for Wendy and the assistant who betrayed me, the former not only had to repay the marital assets and compensation but also had to purchase the necklace she had tainted. I would continue to be struck by countless inspirations, while her life had reached its end, the latter, a 6-month sentence. I exerted some effort to have them placed in the same prison ward, hoping they could look after each other. Leo's mother spent money and effort to bring Wendy's child back from abroad, only to discover after 7 working days that he wasn't her grandson. I heard she was so choked up that she ended up in the hospital for half a month. After the dust settled, I packed up and decided to celebrate my overwhelming divorce victory with a trip. On the day I left, I ran into Leo at the train station, dressed in an outdoor jacket and looking utterly exhausted. He stood before me. "Cindy, give me another chance. I want to win you back." I thought for a moment, raised the train ticket in my hand, and said, "I've always wanted to go to Tibet during my university days, to Lhasa to see the Potala Palace and the poetry of Sangnyang Gyatso. I'll be in Lhasa for 7 days, with no fixed itinerary, just wandering as I please. If we happen to meet on the streets of Lhasa, then I'll give you that chance." That day, Leo watched me board the train, then turned to buy a plane ticket, but I got off the train midway and at that station, bought a ticket for the next train. The destination was Dalinga, a place I had only heard about in poems. As the train slowly pulled away, the rugged desolation unique to the northwest gradually appeared. During those 7 days in Dalinga, time passed slowly, and the leisurely life loosened all my bones. On the 7th night, while attending a bonfire party hosted by the innkeeper, I received a call from Leo. Choking up, he said on the other end, "Cindy, I can't find you." I openly admitted, "Yeah, I didn't go." He asked me, "Why? Why ask so many questions? Making that request was just a spur-of-the-moment thing. I never planned on starting anew with him. Besides, travel is meant to be joyful, and I don't want to encounter trash. 7 years have shown me that he's not worth it. And those cliché plots where someone suddenly realizes their mistakes and tries to win back their spouse are simply revolting. I called out his name seriously. Leo, do you know why I wanted you to go to Lhasa? Because I know you suffer from altitude sickness, and I hoped you would die there. That would settle everything. Having been married to you feels like having a criminal record. Whether you turn out good or bad, never contact me again. I accept that I misjudged someone, accept that I am unloved, accept that my efforts were unrewarded, accept that my sincerity reaches limits. What I need to do is admit defeat. Pay up, and leave swiftly, not trapping myself in a fortress where I can't see the future. I will always believe in my courage to start over. So, tonight in Dalinga, I wrote down a line for myself. Having navigated all the detours, henceforth my life will be a straight path.